When my sister struck me at the jewelry store, an incredible billionaire revealed a life-changing opportunity. Jamie Parker could still feel the heat of the moment radiating off her cheeks as she stood in the busy jewelry store, surrounded by displays shimmering with promise. It was her favorite place, a world away from the weight of her student loans and the dead-end retail job that seemed to mock her dreams. But the laughter of customers and the jingle of cash registers turned into a fog of tension as her older sister Sarah's voice crescendoed. "You just don't get it, Jamie. You can't keep dreaming while I'm out there building a life." Sarah's words sliced through the air, gathering attention as if she'd just said something so profound that everyone needed to hear it. Abandoning the sparkle of rings and necklaces that had once brought her joy, Jamie felt her pulse quicken. "This isn't about wealth," she shot back, her heart hammering. "Isn't it?" Sarah sneered, flipping her perfectly manicured hair. "What's wrong with wanting a little success?" The disapproval was palpable. The onlookers exchanged glances, some gasping as the tension mounted. In a flash, anger boiled over. Sarah's hand flew, a sharp connect that echoed through the store like a gunshot. Jamie stumbled back, stunned, shame and disbelief pooling in her stomach. Laughter and whispers around them morphed into a cacophony that buzzed in her ears. The spectacle felt too raw, too real. Her sister's voice had always been a scourge, but this time it made her ache in a way she couldn't ignore. Just when Jamie contemplated walking away from it all, the store door swung open. In strode Ethan Wells, a billionaire with a magnetic presence that silenced the murmurs. He paused, taking in the scene. Jamie's heart raced with something new, a flicker of hope ignited as he approached. "I saw everything," he said, sincerity in his voice that felt like a lifeline. "You don't have to let this define you. Would you like to join my mentorship program? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Ethan's offer felt like a lifebuoy amidst a turbulent sea. As she considered it, the glimmer of excitement faded into uncertainty. The pressures of her family, particularly Sarah's scornful gaze, seemed to weigh heavier than ever. Still, a small voice in her heart whispered, "This is your chance." Days turned into weeks as Jamie immersed herself in the mentorship program, surrounded by individuals who shared her struggles. Each story cracked open the walls she built around her heart, allowing cracks of vulnerability to let in light. But with each step toward her dream, Sarah's disapproval gnawed at Jamie's resolve. "You're just a wannabe," Sarah would hiss. At a charity event designed for Jamie to showcase her new venture, everything felt charged, thick with tension. She stood at the edge of the crowd, her heart racing as she spotted Sarah's sullen face among the audience. Could she truly prove her worth? As she prepared to speak, the weight of their unresolved conflict lifted slightly. The room braced itself, and Jamie felt a spark of determination seep into her bones. Would this be the moment to challenge the deeply embedded beliefs that had held her back? With everything at stake, Jamie faced the crowd, the silence echoing her fears and aspirations, leaving everyone, including herself, wondering. Could she bridge the growing chasm created by years of misunderstanding? Opportunity. Jamie sucked in a breath. The silence inside the room felt thick enough to slice through, wrapping around her like a heavy fog. The eyes of the crowd rested on her. A mixture of curiosity and concern reflected back. Here was her chance, the moment she had stewed over for weeks. But did she have what it took to shatter the cage of doubt Sarah had built around her? "Thank you all for being here tonight," Jamie began, her voice steadier than she felt. "I know I'm the underdog in this room, but I want to share something that means a lot to me." Her eyes darted to Sarah, who was now firmly planted near the back, arms crossed over her chest like a fortress. The glare sent a jolt of fear through Jamie, but it also ignited something deeper inside her. If she ever wanted to break free from her sister's judgment, now was the time to confront it. "I've spent too long listening to others tell me I can't, too long letting insecurity define me." Jamie's words tumbled out, each one stronger than the last. "But I'm done with that. I've learned that our worth isn't dictated by our circumstances or the words of those we love. is defined by how we choose to rise. A soft buzz rippled through the audience. She could see the surprise flickering in some faces, and it fueled her resolve. I joined a mentorship program that helped me find my passion for jewelry design. I want to create pieces that tell a story, our stories. And tonight, I'm launching my first collection. The applause began as a slow clap, but within moments it swelled into before her. Her heart soared, each cheer filling her with adrenaline. She glanced back at Sarah, who was frowning, her arms now uncrossed but still holding onto that critical expression. Jamie's resolve wavered for just a second. What would it take for her sister to understand? Or was that the wrong question? With newfound clarity, Jamie took a step forward, hands gripping the edges of the podium. Failure is not an end. It's a stepping stone. Every rejection is a lesson. I'm grateful for the tough love I've faced. It made me stronger. Thank you, Sarah, for always pushing me. I hope one day you can be proud of me. It was an unexpected confession, but it seemed to break something in the air. At that moment, Jamie felt a warmth spread through her, as if she was shedding chains that had bound her for too long. The audience mirrored her emotions, some nodding, some even dabbing at their eyes. Just as Jamie thought the moment couldn't get any more profound, the room fell silent again. The doors of the event space swung open, and in walked Ethan, exuding charisma as he scanned the crowd. He spotted Jamie, a proud smile lifting the corners of his mouth. "Now that is how you own your story," he exclaimed, stepping forward. "Jamie, I think it's time to make your mark." But Sarah's reaction turned the atmosphere cold once again. The tension was palpable as she fixed Jamie with a fierce stare. "You think this changes everything?" With her heart pounding, Jamie knew this path wouldn't be easy. But she felt different now. Raucous tides of conflict were surging beneath the surface. What would Sarah do next? Would Jamie have the strength to stand her ground even if her sister doubled down on the hurt? As the crowd buzzed with excitement around her, Jamie stood on the precipice of a new chapter, one that promised both pain and growth. What lay ahead could shatter the fragile connection with Sarah even further, or maybe, just maybe, it could open the door to redemption. As she scanned the room, her eyes locked onto Ethan's, who seemed to sense the gravity of the moment. Would Jamie be ready for the challenges ahead? She had earned this moment in the spotlight, but the shadows of her past loomed large. What would she do next as she ventured into the unknown, standing firm in her choices? Jamie locked eyes with Ethan, a flicker of warmth breaking the tension that hung like a heavy drape between her and Sarah. The applause faded, leaving only the distant thrum of her heartbeat, as she wrestled with the emotional swell inside her. "Are you okay?" Ethan's voice cut through the silence, grounding her. He stepped closer, concern etched onto his handsome features. She nodded, though uncertainty gnawed at her gut. "Look, this was a big step," he encouraged softly, "and no matter what happens next, you've done something incredible." As his words sank in, the weight on Jamie's shoulders lightened, if only slightly. She had laid herself bare in front of all these people, and though Sarah's critical gaze felt like a spotlight into her flaws, she had also received an outpouring of support from everyone else in the room. It was enough to spark a flickering flame of hope, but hope and anxiety danced awkwardly together as Jamie's attention swung back to her sister. Sarah's expression was stony, eyes betraying a mix of shock and anger. "You think words can patch everything up?" Sarah shot, her voice low but razor-sharp. "You're dreaming if you think this makes you worthy of anything. Just because you stand up on that stage doesn't mean you've changed." Jamie's pulse quickened. A part of her wanted to retreat, to let those words wrap around her like a familiar quilt. But the larger part of her screamed for growth. "I'm not dreaming, Sarah," she replied, her voice louder, steadier. "I'm awake now. I love what I do, and I'm not going to hide from it anymore." Sarah's sneer twisted, but before she could respond, Ethan intervened. "Jamie is right. Everyone deserves a chance to follow their dreams. Everyone deserves to be themselves." The crowd began to murmur, picking up on the familial tension sparking in the air. It was unnerving, but Jamie held her ground, heels digging into the stage's flooring, fastening her resolve. "Do you think you can just play the victim and kick your way to the top?" Sarah shot back, her tone laced with bitterness. "I don't know who you are right now, but you're not my sister." Jamie inhaled sharply. The air felt electric, charged with everything unspoken that had been simmering for years. "Maybe that's the point," she replied, her voice cracking slightly. I've spent too long being under your shadow. You expect me to stay the same, but I can't. I won T. Ethan's eyes sparked with admiration, like he was witnessing a flower bloom in real time. Jamie felt a rush of energy as she spoke. There was strength in vulnerability, a bravery in laying her truth out for all to see. The audience shifted, some leaning in, others whispering amongst themselves. Do you know how it feels, Sarah? Jamie continued, her voice softening yet firm. To wake up every day feeling like you're not enough? I'm done living like that. I deserve to be proud of who I am too. Her words hung between them, a bridge she was trying to build. But would Sarah take that step? I'm not proud of this, Jamie, Sarah said, her expression softening just a bit. Then let me show you who I can be. Jamie took a step closer to the edge of the stage, locking her gaze onto her sister's. I'm ready to face whatever comes next. Will you stand with me? There was a moment of stillness, where the entire room held its breath. And then without warning, Sarah turned on her heel and left. The door slammed shut behind her. Shock rippled through the crowd, a wave of gasps echoing in the now heavy air. Jamie's heart sank, a sinking feeling pulling at her gut. Had she pushed too far? Let us keep going. Ethan called out enthusiastically, trying to rally the audience. You all came to support Jamie. But beneath the surface of excitement, Jamie felt a hollow ache settle in. Yes, she had made a declaration, shown growth, but at what cost? The threads of her sisterly bond were frayed and tangled, and they might never be restored. As the applause began to fade again, Jamie couldn't help but wonder. What would it take to rebuild that connection? Would Sarah ever understand her choices, her drive? The evening carried on, but Jamie felt adrift, her hopes marred with uncertainty. Just as she thought she could gather her thoughts, her phone buzzed in her pocket. With trembling hands she pulled it out. There was a message from Sarah. Gripping the phone, Jamie could hardly breathe. What could her sister possibly say now? And, more importantly, would it change everything? Jamie's heart raced as she stared at her phone, the screen casting a faint glow in the dusky atmosphere of the room. She opened the message, the words blurring for a moment as tears threatened to spill. Sarah's typed letters were sharp, like glass shards, cutting through the fragile moment of clarity Jamie had just tasted. I can't believe you would air our dirty laundry in front of all those people. I'm done, Jamie. Don't bother reaching out again. A knot tightened in her stomach, pain replacing the fleeting hope she had felt just moments ago. The finality of those words crashed into her, knocking the breath from her lungs. Without thinking, she shut her eyes and sank into the nearest chair, the wood pressing hard against her, as if anchoring her back to the ground. Ethan, still full of enthusiasm, moved about the crowd, capturing their energy. With a flash of light, he turned Jamie's way, offering an encouraging smile that faltered as he noticed her frozen expression. He made his way to her side, concern radiating from him in waves. Hey, what's wrong? Just Sarah, Jamie whispered, her voice barely audible. Ethan looked at her phone, then back at her face, searching for answers. Does she regret what you said? You stood up for yourself, Jamie. Not many people can do that. The warmth of his words flickered inside her, but the dread of Sarah's response tempered the light. I thought I was ready for this, she murmured, the edge of her voice cracking. But maybe I just set fire to everything. What if she's right? What if I'll never be enough? He rested a hand on her shoulder, a comforting weight that grounded her. You are enough, Jamie. In fact, you're more than enough. It takes guts to dance in the light, especially when you've been hiding in the shadows. Your sister. She is hurting too, and that can make people lash out. It doesn't make what she said true. Jamie took a shaky breath, staring up at him. The tenderness in his eyes was a balm for her fraying heart. But what if I lose her? We've been through so much together, and I don't want this to be the end. Maybe it doesn't have to be, Ethan replied, drawing closer. But you have to hold your ground. Don't be afraid to feel what you're feeling. It's okay to want to fight for her, but you cannot lose yourself in the process. You're not just her sister. You're Jamie, someone who deserves love and understanding. His words hung in the air, battling against the storm of anguish inside her. She wanted to believe them, to let hope take root, but each time she imagined reaching for forgiveness, Sarah's scornful face loomed. Suddenly, Jamie's phone buzzed again, snapping her out of her spiral. Another message from Sarah. This isn't over, Jamie. I need time to think. Too much has happened between us and you've changed maybe too much. Tears slipped down her cheeks, unbidden and relentless. What do I do, Ethan? She whispered, despair lacing her voice. How do I show her the person I've become? You start by showing yourself, he replied firmly. Take this time to embrace who you are, to grow even more. And when she's ready, you'll be there. Ready to explain everything. The idea took root in Jamie's heart, a spark beginning to glow in the chill of her uncertainty. Ethan was right. She had to embrace her journey, to stand tall in her truth. But just as a flicker of hope began to take hold, the door swung open, startling both of them. A figure stepped inside, someone unexpected, someone from her past. Jamie, I need to talk to you, the voice echoed in the vibrant room. Pulling every eye toward her, it was their mother. A wave of complicated emotions flooded through Jamie. Why now? What could she possibly want after all this time? And more importantly, would her mother help mend the rift between her and Sarah? Or would this add another layer of tension to an already frayed family bond? Jamie, I need to talk to you, her mother repeated, her voice wavering as the room fell to a hush. Eyes were glued on them, the buzz of laughter and music fading into a distant hum. Jamie's stomach twisted as she searched her mother's face for a hint of what was coming. It was as if time had twisted, bending around the tension between them. The last time she saw her mother, it hadn't ended well. Words had been said that could never be taken back. Mom, can this wait? Jamie's voice was sharper than she intended. A protective instinct rose within her. She felt Ethan's presence beside her, a grounding force. No, her mother replied, stepping forward, her hands trembling slightly. Not anymore. I need to apologize. Jamie blinked, her eyes narrowing. Apologize? After all this time? Yes, her mother said, biting her lower lip. I know I haven't been there for you or Sarah. It was wrong and I let my own fears get in the way. I just couldn't cope with everything that happened. The raw vulnerability in her mother's voice caught Jamie off guard. It was hard to reconcile this trembling figure with the woman who had once turned her back on them. Jamie's heart raced, torn between anger and an unexpected flicker of hope. Ethan shifted beside her, sensing her turmoil. You should hear her out, he whispered, his tone encouraging yet gentle. You don't get to waltz back into our lives with an apology and expect everything to be okay. Jamie said fiercely, the pain spilling through her defenses. It's not that simple. I know, her mother admitted, her voice shaking. I don't expect it to be. But I want to try. I want to make things right. I've realized how important family is. How important you both are to me. I've missed so much. A wave of conflicting emotions crashed over Jamie. All the years of neglect, all the hurt, swirled around her like a storm. But with it, a whisper of longing surfaced. What if this could be an opportunity? What if they could rebuild their family? Jamie, Ethan said, his voice low. It's up to you. Jamie glanced at him, the urge to confide in him bubbling at the surface. I don't know if I can trust her, she admitted, her voice shaky. What if this is just another false promise? Trust is built, not given, Ethan replied softly. This could be a chance for everyone to voice their hurt, the unspoken words between you and your mom. You'll never know unless you try. Her mother watched silently, pain etched on her face. Slowly Jamie turned back to her mother, the weight of her decision pressing down on her. What do you want from us? What can you offer that's different this time? I'm not here to make excuses, her mother answered, taking a deep breath as if every word was a deliberate step into the vulnerable. I want to listen, to understand you and Sarah better. I want to show you that I care. Jamie felt the sharp edges of her anger soften ever so slightly. They were all hurting, tangled in years of misunderstanding. But was it enough? Could she allow herself to take that leap of faith? As the crowd around them resumed their joyful chatter, Jamie's heart beat fast. She looked into her mother's eyes, past the years of neglect. I need to talk to Sarah too, she whispered, feeling the weight of the moment. But I can't do this alone. I'll be here, her mother promised, her voice steadying. Just then Jamie's phone buzzed again, a notification lighting up the screen with anticipation. It was Sarah. I want to meet. The air in the room shifted, anticipation thickening as Jamie met Ethan's steady gaze. Everything was teetering on the edge of possibility, and the future felt both terrifying and hopeful all at once. Could they really mend this broken family? Would Sarah let them in? The weight of choices hung heavy in the air, and Jamie took a deep breath, feeling the pull of both her past and her future. What would happen next? Jamie felt her heart race as she read Sarah's message. It wasn't just the words but the weight behind them. They whispered of unresolved tension, of a sister who had been so deeply affected by everything. The knot in her stomach tightened. "What do you think?" Ethan asked, his eyes searching hers. I think we need to talk," Jamie replied, her voice barely above a whisper. Every fiber of her being was drawn to the idea of reuniting with Sarah, but a shred of fear lingered. What if Sarah wasn't ready? What if she pushed her away too? Her mother, sensing the moment's gravity, stepped closer. "I'll give you two some space. Just let me know when you want me around." Unbeknownst to them, as Jamie's mother turned to leave, her nervousness draped over the room. It felt as if the air had thickened, becoming heavy with unspoken words and lost time. A few steps away, Jamie's feet felt like they were stuck in place. Where would she even begin with Sarah? It had been so long since they had a heart-to-heart. So many years of silence. They had allowed a chasm to grow between them, and Jamie desperately wanted to bridge it. "Maybe we should go somewhere quiet?" Ethan suggested, reading the thoughts swirling in her mind. He pointed toward the exit. "A coffee shop maybe? You could talk without the crowd." Jamie nodded, grateful for his unwavering support. "That's a good idea." As they stepped outside, the buzz of the party faded, replaced by the crisp autumn air. Jamie inhaled deeply, trying to steady the chaos in her mind. Every corner of her heart felt frayed with hope and uncertainty. They made their way down the street, passing a few stores, each one filled with laughter, the sound echoing painfully in Jamie's ears. When they finally reached a cozy cafe, Jamie slid into a booth, her hands clasped tightly on the table. Ethan sat opposite her, his gaze steady, as if he were holding space for her anxiety. "You'll do great," he reassured her, the warmth in his voice soothing her nerves. It's so much," she admitted, the fear bubbling up. "What if Sarah doesn't want to talk? What if she just shuts me out?" He leaned forward, one eyebrow raised. "Then you'll handle it. You're strong, Jamie. Stronger than you think. Just remember, you're not alone." As they spoke, a familiar figure appeared at the door. Jamie's breath caught as she spotted Sarah. Her sister looked older, more grown up. There was a time when they relied on each other so fiercely, but now it felt like years of separation had changed everything. "Hey," Sarah said tentatively, her voice barely audible above the soft hum of conversation in the cafe. "Hey," Jamie replied, her throat tight with emotion. They took a moment to size each other up, a frigid silence enveloping them, mingling with the aroma of roasted coffee. Jamie felt her heart pounding in her chest, a mix of excitement and anxiety coursing through her veins. Ethan's encouraging smile lingered in her mind as Sarah finally took a seat, her eyes darting nervously. Jamie opened her mouth, but the words felt trapped. I got your message," Sarah began, sounding small. The walls between them loomed high. "I know we have a lot to talk about," Jamie started, but her sister's look, one that blended hurt and maybe even anger, silenced her before she could finish. "Do we? Because it feels like a lot has happened, and I don't even know where to start or if I want to." Jamie's heart sank. She felt lost, the shapeless words she had rehearsed fleeing her mind. With each second that ticked by, it felt more like a fragile bridge was turning to dust between them. "What do you mean?" Jamie asked, her voice wavering as she leaned in. A moment of silence passed, the weight of expectation hanging between them, thick and uncompromising. Sarah looked down, her hands fidgeting. I'm not the same person I was before you left." The room spun around them, and Jamie couldn't ignore the dread settling in her chest. Was this really where they would start? Did they need to dive into this sea of old wounds? Deep down she knew they had to confront the past if they wanted a chance at a future. But could they? As she opened her mouth, even more questions spilled forth in a rush. "What about Mom? She wants to fix things, but I don't care about what she wants anymore." Sarah interrupted sharply, the weight of her words hitting Jamie like a cold gust of wind. The air was electric with tension. Jamie felt her stomach tighten again. She had hoped this meeting would heal, not fracture. Just then, Sarah's phone buzzed on the table, illuminating with a new message. Jamie's breath caught in her throat. What if that's? The word stuck, and she watched Sarah pick up her phone, her expression changing instantly. Is it about Mom? What does it say? Jamie asked, desperation creeping in. But instead of answering, Sarah stared at her phone, her eyes widening in shock. Jamie, you need to see this. The world around them faded as Jamie leaned in, heart racing, fearing what was about to unfold. This moment could change everything. What could it be? What shocking news awaited them? As Jamie leaned closer, her heart raced even faster. Sarah's face drained of color, making it easier to read the anxiety that danced across her features. What could possibly incite such a reaction? Sarah. Jamie's voice trembled, uncertainty leaping into every word. What's wrong? I don't know how to tell you this, Sarah stammered, her fingers trembling over the phone screen. It's about Dad. Everything else ceased to exist in that moment. Jamie felt the world tilt on its axis. After all these years, how could the mention of their father still conjure such a powerful tide of emotions? What about him? Jamie's voice was barely a whisper, scared of the answer. I think he's trying to reach out. He sent a message through this charity, the one Mom used to volunteer for. Jamie's stomach churned. Her mind raced back to memories painted in heartbreak and resentment. After the divorce, their father had drifted away, leaving them with echoes of his absence. Reach out? When? Jamie asked, her brain struggling to process Sarah's words. Just now. I didn't want to believe it, but Sarah's voice cracked as she handed the phone over. Jamie took it, her eyes scanning the screen as anxiety knotted her stomach. A muted notification flashed, an invitation from a charity gala, promising a reunion with the family. The details blurred together as Jamie tried to grasp the implication. Her heart thudded painfully in her chest. Was this a desperate act? Or was it genuine? Was he really trying to reconnect? Or was it some sort of manipulation? I didn't want to bring this up if it upset you, Sarah said softly, eyes pleading for understanding. Jamie inhaled deeply, the air thick and suffocating. It felt as if the past was looming over them, a dark shadow that refused to be ignored. Why now? After everything? She whispered, frustration bubbling beneath her fear. He just shows up like nothing happened? Sarah frowned, her hurt surging. Don't you think I wanted to just pretend this didn't happen? The tension rose again, crackling like static in the air. They both knew incredibly well how to navigate landmines in conversations about their father. Yet here they were, together again, grappling with the same heart-wrenching issues that had once torn them apart. Jamie ran a hand through her hair, a wave of anger washing over her, mixing complicated love and resentment. I want it to be real, Sarah. But part of me is terrified he'll just hurt us again. I can't handle that. Not again. I feel the same way, Sarah said, tears brimming. But what if this is our chance? What if he really wants to make things right? Jamie looked into her sister's eyes and saw her own uncertainty mirrored there. They both wanted their family to be whole again. But the fear of being let down loomed larger than ever. I can't just jump into hoping, Sarah. It's not that easy. What if we just took a step? Sarah suggested, her voice barely above a whisper. What if we go to the gala, see him, and figure it out? The idea struck Jamie like a blow. Part of her felt sick, the thought of facing their father swirling up dark memories she wasn't sure she wanted to relive. But another part of her was tempted. Could there be healing? What happens if we get more hurt? Jamie asked, fighting the swell of emotions. If we go, we can go together, right? Jamie felt the weight of her sister's words hanging in the air like fragile glass, teetering dangerously on the edge. Could she take that step? Could they face their father together? The room felt smaller as Jamie wrestled with the choice. But just then her phone buzzed, tearing her focus. It was a new message, one that sent a chill creeping down her spine. Who is it now? Sarah asked curiously. Jamie opened the message, and her blood ran cold as she read the name at the top. Ethan. For a moment, everything else faded. Had he known how heavy the air felt, how much was riding on this moment? Why now? Jamie. Sarah's eyes pierced through the fog of her confusion. What does it say? Jamie felt the tension rise again. The path before them was twisting in unexpected ways, and every decision seemed loaded with consequences. Come meet me, the message read, and for Jamie the question lingered thick in the air. What did Ethan know that could change everything? Jamie's heart raced as she replayed Ethan's message in her mind. It felt like a jolt of electricity, awakening an urgency deep within her. Just days before, they had been separated by silence, but now he wanted to meet. The chaos of her emotions, fear, confusion. A flicker of hope swirled like a tempest inside her. What does he want? Sarah asked, her voice a blend of curiosity and concern. I don't know, Jamie replied, her fingers hovering over the screen. Could just be please don't say nothing. Sarah interrupted, a hint of desperation in her tone. After everything that's happened, if Ethan wants to talk, we need to listen. Just like with Dad. A knot formed in Jamie's stomach, and a wave of resentment washed over her at the uninvited reminder of their father. The parallels felt suffocating but unavoidable. What if this meeting led to more heartbreak? The thought made her nauseous. But then again, what if Ethan had information, something significant that could bridge gaps or even mend broken pieces? Okay, Jamie sighed, trying to piece her thoughts together. But I'm not sure I can handle this. Not right now. Sarah stepped closer, her eyes wide and searching. Are you really going to ignore it? Yes, reaching out. We can't let fear control us. Fear or caution? Jamie grumbled, staring at the blinking cursor on her screen, her internal storm raging. What if he's just playing games? A flash of doubt crossed Sarah's face. We'd be there together. Just like with Dad. It's about moving forward, not getting stuck in the past. Jamie could see the flicker of hope in her sister's hopeful gaze, urging her to take a leap into the unknown. But every fiber of her being warned her against it. I'll think about it, she managed finally, her voice barely above a whisper. But I'm not making any promises. Just then her phone buzzed again, breaking the tense atmosphere. Jamie instinctively snatched it up, a mix of anticipation and dread swirling within her. The message warning her of unexpected danger had come out of nowhere, adding to her already tumultuous emotions. Jamie, is it Ethan again? Sarah asked, renewal shimmering in her eyes. Jamie glanced at the screen and her heart sank. It wasn't Ethan but a series of picture messages from her friend Tina. Confusion flickered in her mind as she swiped to view them. The images were startling. Photos of a lavish jewelry store, bright lights glimmering off a multitude of beautiful gems and sparkling rings. The last photograph made her stomach drop. There, standing next to an extravagant display, was Ethan, flashing that charming smile that once made her heart flutter. What does this mean? Sarah leaned over, her breath hitching. It looks like he's at some jewelry store. But why? Jamie was puzzled, grounding herself against the edge of the table to steady her racing heartbeat. Maybe he's planning something special? Sarah suggested, excitement lighting her face momentarily. Like what? A ring? Jamie retorted, her head spinning. This couldn't be good. If Ethan was involved in anything romantic, who was it for? Ethan had a life outside their past, one she couldn't escape. The memories of jealousy and heartbreak haunted her. Everything feels tangled, twisted into something she didn't recognize or want to confront. What are you going to do? Sarah's voice softened, gently prompting Jamie to make a decision in this swirling mess of emotions. Jamie felt herself at a crossroads, knowing she was standing on the brink of something huge. I need to meet him, she finally whispered, her voice trembling but resolute. But I want you with me. This is too big. As Sarah nodded slowly, anxiety crackling between them, Jamie's mind raced with possibilities. Facing Ethan, confronting their father, possibly unraveling a mystery, and now all of this, it felt too intense. Would the evening lead to answers or more complicated questions? And as they stood there, the future unfolding before them, Jamie couldn't shake the thought that this could turn everything upside down, and her heart couldn't decide if it was ready. Where and when do we meet? Sarah asked as Jamie typed a response, fighting the pit of dread in her stomach, and at the forefront of her mind, another question lingered. Would this be the day everything changed? Jamie sat on the edge of her bed, the glow of her phone illuminating her already anxious expression. The weight of the decision settled heavily on her shoulders. She glanced at Sarah, who was scrolling through the photos, her brow knitted in careful contemplation. Okay. He texted a time and place, Jamie finally said, breaking the silence. We're meeting at the sushi place downtown in 2 hours. Sarah looked up, her eyes widening. 2 hours? That's too soon, I know, Jamie interrupted, the tremor in her voice betraying her. Excitement and dread clashed within her, making her feel like she was teetering on the edge of a cliff. Then we should go. Sarah encouraged, a spark of enthusiasm in her tone. We can grab something to eat, maybe a drink to calm your nerves. Right. Because that always works, Jamie muttered, her stomach in knots. She was all too aware that this wasn't just a casual meetup. She was about to confront the man who had once promised her everything, only to vanish into thin air, leaving shards of her heart behind. An alarm rang in the back of Jamie's mind. A reminder of the last time they'd been together, the messy end that felt like a slap in the face. She shivered at the recollection. Amy. Sarah's voice brought her back. You've got to be brave. We'll face him together. It's not just Ethan, Sarah, Jamie whispered, rubbing her temples as if to ward off a headache. It's everything. What he might be planning. What he might say. It all feels so layered. Then let us peel the layers back one at a time, Sarah urged, determination bubbling in her sister's tone. Jamie inhaled deeply, trying to gather some semblance of strength. Okay, she breathed. But if it goes wrong? It won't, Sarah reassured, brushing a hand through Jamie's hair. A comforting gesture. I promise we'll figure this out. Together. As the two sisters prepared to leave, Jamie felt like she was getting ready to face a storm. Each heartbeat was a countdown to the inevitable confrontation that loomed. The car ride seemed eternal. Tense silence filled the space between them. Jamie's thoughts looped back to Ethan, the way he once looked at her. His laughter filling the spaces of her life. Now those memories felt frail and broken, shattered by unanswered questions. Pulling into the parking lot, Jamie's heart raced even faster. The sushi place looked warm and inviting, but all she felt was the cold grip of anxiety. Her hands were clammy against her jeans, and her breath quickened as they made their way inside. Are you ready? Sarah asked, giving her a gentle nudge as they entered the restaurant. Jamie nodded, though her insides twisted tighter with each step. Just breathe, okay? Sarah whispered, shooting her an encouraging smile as they approached the small table in the corner where Ethan was already waiting. He looked up and for a moment time froze. The familiarity of him sent a jolt of memories flooding back, the laughter, the late-night talks, the promises. But then the reality crashed over her like a wave. The hurt, the betrayal all piled into the space between them. Ethan stood, his voice carrying a note of surprise. Ethan. Her own voice felt foreign, raw but steady, masking the chaos inside. Before either could say more, Sarah's voice broke through. Hey Ethan. We're here together. The weight of her sister's presence pounded in the air, an anchor against what was about to unfold. Jamie desperately wondered if they were prepared for the truth he might reveal. What if it changed everything? As they settled in for the conversation, Jamie couldn't shake off the feeling that the storm was only just beginning. She could sense it, creeping around the edges, waiting for the right moment to strike. And when that moment came, would it be a blessing or a curse? Jamie felt her heart race as she sat across the table from Ethan. A million thoughts swirled in her mind, but one simple wish anchored her: she needed clarity. She stole a glance at Sarah, who sat beside her with a look of determination that buoyed Jamie's wavering spirit. Thanks for meeting us, Jamie said, the words tumbling out with a nervous urgency. There was an awkward silence before Ethan broke into a warm, reassuring smile, and that flicker of familiarity sparked something inside her. Of course. I know it's a lot to process, he said, his voice calm, but Jamie could sense the weight he carried. I just wanted to clarify some things, especially after last time. Jamie sucked in a breath. The sting of their last encounter, the misunderstandings, the hurt, the distance flooded her thoughts. Right. Things have changed, she replied, her tone edging on vulnerability but laced with determination. Ethan nodded slowly, his eyes glinting with empathy. I wanted to talk about your decision to pursue jewelry design and everything else too. The way he spoke drew her in. He unapologetically saw her as she was, not just as the girl tangled up in family drama. I'm proud of you, Jamie. It takes guts to follow your dreams, especially with the challenges you've faced. Jamie swallowed hard, gratitude and trepidation battling within her. Thank you. But that doesn't erase what happened between us. She could feel Sarah's supportive gaze encouraging her to confront the truth head-on. I know, he replied, leaning in, sincerity spilling from him. But I've changed too. With losing touch, it made me realize what I truly value. What do you mean? Sarah asked, her voice cutting through the tension. Ethan hesitated, just a moment too long for Jamie's comfort. I've had a lot of time to reflect, especially with my business growing. I want to make a meaningful impact not just in jewelry, but in the lives of people I care about. Jamie felt her pulse quicken. And you think that includes us? His gaze held hers steady and unwavering. I do. I've been selfish. I let my ambitions blind me. I should have been there for you through thick and thin. Sarah stirred in her seat, the corner of her mouth twitching slightly. And what do you expect from this meeting? Just apologies? Ethan sighed, the vulnerability seeping through his perfect demeanor. No, it's not just about apologies. I want to support you both. Jamie, I know you want to launch your collection. I'm willing to invest in it. What? Jamie's mind spun. You want to invest in my designs? The idea felt surreal. Could Ethan be offering the break she needed? Ethan leaned forward, his voice quiet but palpable. Yes, your vision is incredible, and I believe it can impact a lot of people. It's more than just the art, it's the message behind it. Sarah turned to Jamie, eyes wide, some of the old sisterly concern creeping back in. And what if he's just trying to manipulate you? Ethan sighed, meeting Sarah's gaze. I realize I might have left both of you hurt, but this isn't about me trying to fix my mistakes, it's about recognizing what empowerment truly means. A silence fell upon the three of them, thick with possibility. Jamie felt the weight of her dreams colliding with her past, and for once it didn't scare her. Her sister might have doubts, and rightly so, but maybe this path offered them both something they needed: healing and connection. Jamie interjected, and what about our family? What will we do if we meet Dad? Ethan's eyes softened. That's a tough one. But whatever your decision, I'm here for you. You should do whatever feels right for you both. Maybe it's time to confront those ghosts, Jamie. Sarah spoke gently, as if broaching the truth for the first time. We've been hiding for too long. Together. Her words sank in deep, and suddenly the idea didn't feel as frightening. Maybe being brave didn't mean overcoming fears alone. I'm in, Jamie said, her voice steady. If it means resolving our past, I'll take that leap. Ethan smiled, as if a weight had lifted from his shoulders. Then let us do it together. And about that collection, you'll have my full support. Jamie's heart swelled with gratitude. Thank you. As they navigated through the difficult waters resurfacing with their father, Jamie felt a strange calm. Their paths were uncertain, wreathed in complexity and emotions, but for the first time, she felt a sturdy foundation beneath her. Ugh, it's going to be a lot, Sarah murmured, leaning back against her chair. But let us hold on to each other like we always have. Moving forward one step at a time, Jamie added, feeling a rush of affinity for her sister. As the afternoon light poured into the cafe, illuminating their little corner, Jamie felt the warmth of possibility embrace her. Now let us order some sushi before we tackle the world, Ethan laughed, lifting the menu with an air of genuineness that made the heaviness on Jamie's heart begin to dissipate. In that moment, under the gentle hum of friends and family in the bustling restaurant, Jamie realized she had arrived at a point of no return. Transformation beckoned, a path rich with hope stretching before them. Their family, their dreams, their lives tangled and complex as they could find healing. And together, hand in hand, they would step into the unknown. With renewed determination, Jamie's eyes sparkled, each decision igniting a fire within her. Let us do this, she declared, for she wasn't just stepping into change, she was fully embracing it. And with that, the small group set about building new stories, unafraid of navigating the rough waters to find their way back to one another. Now is the time for you to subscribe immediately to our channel so you won't miss the next exclusive stories filled with transformation. Leave a like now to help keep this momentum alive and feed the algorithm. We want to hear from you. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. Your words mean the world to us. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these amazing actions.